Chapter 3. If you were to take a plastic bag and place it inside a large bowl, and then, using a wooden spoon, stir the bag around and around the bowl, you could use the expression a mixed bag to describe what you had in front of you. But you would not be using the expression in the same way I am about to use it now. Although a mixed bag sometimes refers to a plastic bag that has been stirred in a bowl, more often it is used to describe a situation that has both good parts and bad parts. An afternoon at a movie theater, for instance, would be a mixed bag if your favorite movie were showing. But if you had to eat gravel instead of popcorn, a trip to the zoo would be a very mixed bag. If the weather were beautiful, but all of the man and woman eating lions were running around loose. And for the Baudelaire orphans, their first few days with the Squallers were one of the most mixed bags they had yet encountered, because the good parts were very good, but the bad parts were simply awful. One of the good parts was that the Baudelaires were living once more in the city where they were born and raised. After the Baudelaire parents had died, and after their disastrous stay with Count Olaf, the three children had been sent to a number of remote locations to live, and they sorely missed the familiar surroundings of their hometown. Each morning, after Esme left for work, Jerome would take the children to some of their favorite places in town. Violet was happy to see that her favorite exhibits at the Verne Invention Museum had not been changed, so she could take another look at the mechanical demonstrations that had inspired her to be an inventor when she was just 2 years old. Klaus was delighted to revisit the Akhmatova bookstore, where his father used to take him as a special treat to buy an atlas or a volume of the encyclopedia. And Sunny was interested in visiting the Pincus Hospital where she was born, although her memories of this place were a little fuzzy. But in the afternoons, the three children would return to 667 Dark Avenue, and it was this part of the Baudelaire's situation that was not nearly as pleasant. For one thing, the penthouse was simply too big. Besides the 71 bedrooms, there were a number of living rooms, dining rooms, breakfast rooms, snack rooms, sitting rooms, standing rooms, ballrooms, bathrooms, kitchens, and an assortment of rooms that seemed to have no purpose at all. The penthouse was so enormous that the Baudelaire orphans often found themselves hopelessly lost inside of it. Violet would leave her bedroom to go brush her teeth and not find her way back for hours. Klaus would accidentally leave his glasses on the kitchen counter and waste the whole afternoon trying to find the right kitchen. And Sunny would find a very comfortable spot for sitting and biting things and being able to find it the next day. It was often difficult to spend any time with Jerome simply because it was very difficult to find him amid all the fancy rooms of their new home, and the Baudelaires scarcely saw Esme at all. They knew she went off to work every day and returned in the evenings, but even at the times when she was in the apartment with them, the three children scarcely caught a glimpse of the city's sixth most important financial advisor. It was as if she had forgotten all about the new members of her family, or was simply more interested in lounging around the rooms in the apartment rather than spending time with the three siblings. But the Baudelaire orphans did not really mind that Esme was absent so often. They much preferred spending time with one another or with Jerome rather than participating in endless conversations about what was in and what was out. Even when the Baudelaires stayed in their bedrooms, the three children did not have such a splendid time. As he had promised, Jerome had given Violet the bedroom with a large wooden bench, which was indeed perfect for keeping tools. But Violet could find no tools in the entire penthouse. She found it odd that such an enormous apartment would have not even a socket wrench or one measly pair of pliers. But Esme haughtily explained that Violet asked her one evening that tools were out. Klaus did have the squalor library next to his bedroom, and it was a large and comfortable room with hundreds of books on its shelves. But the middle bottler was disappointed to find that every single book was merely a description of what had been in and out during various times in history. Klaus tried to interest himself in books of this type, but it was so dull to read a snooty book like Boots Were In 1812 or Trout, In France They're Out, that Klaus found himself spending scarcely any time in the library at all. And poor Sonny fared no better. A phrase which here means also became bored in her bedroom. Jerome had thoughtful places of number.